name is Aaron Lipski, Fire Chief, City of Milwaukee Fire Department. With us is our Assistant Chief, Dwayne Smoots. He's our Operations Assistant Chief over all the firefighting and EMS activities in the city. As you're aware, yesterday we had a very, very major fire that kept the Milwaukee Fire Department on the scene behind me here at Milwaukee Recycles for nearly 24 straight hours. We finally were able to quench the very last of the hot spots to ensure that there were no flare-ups. As you might imagine, it's quite a protracted operation for us. The majority of our fires don't typically last 24 hours, but in an industrial environment like this, with the type of combustibles we were dealing with, tightly compacted, densely packed, that's just how long it took. We're happy to say that it is completely out now. We understand you had a good opportunity to speak with representatives from DPW about that end of things, so I'm just going to really be talking about the firefighting end of things. We had, for the initial 3 alarms, about 75 firefighters on scene from the Milwaukee Fire Department as well as from the Wauwatosa Fire Department. We had help from the Marquette University Police Department and the Milwaukee Police Department, as well as our Department of Neighborhood Services as well. The firefighters that were here on the initial 3 alarms were replaced overnight as they continued looking for hot spots so that we could get them some relief, get them back, get them hydrated, get them some food. Thankful to say I still have no reports of any injuries to any firefighters or to the staff. I commend the staff here for a rapid evacuation. They did make attempts with extinguishers, from my understanding, to control this fire when it was first observed. But that's the nature of these things. If you get a deep-seated fire, by the time it's showing itself, it can be beyond the capacity of a fire extinguisher. So much credit to them for trying, more credit to them for recognizing that hazard and getting themselves out. That saved us a lot of undue risk going in there searching around. As it was, firefighters made extremely aggressive attempts early on in the fire to get inside and locate and extinguish that fire. Fact of the matter is the construction of this facility, just for its very function, there are a lot of raceways and conveyor beltways and enclosed hoppers, and they were all loaded up with different materials at the time. It just accounts for a very, very rapid fire spread in very, very remote, difficult to reach spaces. So our fire commanders wisely decided, after numerous attempts inside the building, that instead of having heavy machinery or roofs fall down on the firefighters, to back them out and let the big guns do it from the outside, the aerial master streams and the larger diameter streams we use from the outside. As you saw, the majority of the smoke throughout this event was being blown westward, the wind coming off the lake, pushing it westward. We had spotter crews out to the west during the thick of the fire to see where precisely we might be seeing that smoke. It seems as if it mostly died down by about the 27th Street Viaduct, and at the time we started deploying our teams to start monitoring and sensing, we had started to knock down the majority of the smoke. So just to give you an idea, some of the things our hazmat team was able to test for, all with zero results, meaning no readings whatsoever. Oxygen, so we had good readings for oxygen, as you'd hope. Carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, volatile organic compounds, and a variety of others. But they tested for all these things, and we're happy to say that despite that odor that you may have had or that haze you saw, we're happy to report we don't think there was any negligible impact to the public, no matter how much nuisance that smoke may have caused. We appreciate the public's assistance. I appreciate the Menomonee Valley partners for helping us amplify the message that folks should avoid the area during this fire and that they should close their windows at home, not come to the area, close their car windows, use their vehicle air conditioners that do have somewhat of a filtration system. We appreciate that partnership and them assisting us in amplifying that message, as well as the media from yesterday. You were very helpful with that. So with that, I'd be open for any questions.
Chief, tell us about the investigation. Any initial leads?
Sure. So all reports are that it was discovered in one of the large pits that are part of the process here, and that it was observed by an employee. Looked like a very small fire. They started gathering extinguishers, and it just took off that quick that they just weren't able to stay in the area anymore. So that was the right call for them. There are a variety of theories. It would be very, very difficult for me to say for certain. Part of that is because we have not yet concluded the investigation. Part of it is because a ton of evidence gets burned up in fires. And so it might not ever be possible for us to say definitively. I can tell you that lithium-ion batteries are a continual source of aggravation. Any sort of battery-charged anything. Go on YouTube and look at what happens when vehicles that are battery-driven start on fire. It is a fire that grows more rapid than even a gasoline-fed fire. It is unreal how fast that can grow and spread to other items. I don't know that was it. I just know that we have seen that from time to time in previous incidents here.
Chief, you've been to a number of fires here in the past. You noted that yesterday. Do you know if any of those previous fires were caused by lithium-ion batteries? And do you have a sense from any of your colleagues in the firefighting community if their communities are experiencing more frequent fires at recycling plants for that reason?
Yeah, there appears to be an increase in fires at recycling plants, generally speaking, right now. I am a part of numerous groups of chief officers from across the country, to include major metropolitan cities, and I can tell you that lithium-ion batteries are absolutely problematic right now. The situation has not been regulated to the degree that they are safe. They're not being used appropriately. They're not being charged appropriately. And once they experience what is called thermal runaway, there is very little to be done, certainly in the short term, to safely extinguish that fire at the civilian level.
What fix that? Is that manufactured? I mean, you're telling the public right now, stop putting that into recycling, but is there a higher level of action that's needed?
I believe the public's already been told not to put it in the recycling bin, but I have a job because basic rules don't get followed, right? If everybody did what they were supposed to do, we wouldn't have a ton of the situations we have right now. So whose job is it to fix it? I mean, I'm one guy in a Midwestern city trying to answer questions about a facility fire here. It's a bigger thing than I'm going to be able to get my arms around standing here today, AJ.
I feel like manufacturers, is it a higher level of concern than civilians being negligent?
Yeah. I don't want to give the impression that it's all just civilians not caring about anything. Certainly, industry has a hand in this. Certainly, regulatory agencies have a hand in this. Certainly, folks that would push this sort of thing too fast ahead of getting all the safety mechanisms in place, I mean, maybe we should take a closer look at it. I know the FDNY is dealing with this at an unprecedented level with the battery-powered scooters being charged in apartment buildings, and they're starting to lose a lot of people. We've had fires in the city as a result of this, unrelated to this, so it's a real thing. No disrespect, I don't want to get too far down that track because I don't know that is the cause. I can tell you one of the other causes we have also seen here are small propane tanks that get slipped in and make it through all the sorting processes inside this plant, and all of a sudden get pinched or crunched and pop off, and that obviously results in a small explosion and oftentimes small fires. This was the worst fire in my experience we've ever had in this facility. This got a huge head start.
24 hours battle with fire. What kind of strain does that put on your department?
It's pretty monumental. 3 alarms worth of companies is, with 15 to 20 years worth of the Milwaukee Fire Department being budgetarily undersourced, that's probably darn near half of our fire department that was here putting this fire out. Here's the good news. The good news is we're good for it. We're going to come here. We're going to do it. And we have, independent of anything else, built very strong relationships with our shared services partners from around the county. So you'll note that just a few short hours before this, there was a major 3-alarm fire in West Allis. We had a whole bunch of our resources in West Allis and surrounding communities helping at the fire and filling their fire stations during that time frame. During our fire, we had a whole bunch of resources from the communities in the city backfilling our stations. So we've made very, very huge strides with redeploying resources across municipal boundaries to spread out the care and the capability for when the next emergency comes.
Can you talk again how those quick decisions by the staff working here really made things a lot better than they were?
Absolutely. So the number one thing for us is life safety. It's the number one thing for everybody, right? The ability of that entire staff body to be out here and to have one representative talk to one of our fire commanders and tell them everybody is out that's golden. That's golden for us, because if we're told, hey, we're missing Johnny, he was up on the second deck halfway in the building, that changes the entire equation for us, because we're going to go try to get Johnny. That's our number one task. So we don't ever presume that a building is absolutely empty until we've gotten a chance to have eyes on it. But I will tell you, when you have people that you've seen repeatedly practicing evacuation drills and then employing them on a day like yesterday, it's a huge reduction in the strain and the stress on the firefighters, because I can tell you that firefighters as a class will push extremely, extremely hard if they think there's a human life to save, which can put them at even increased risk. Good to go?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your interest in this. Dwayne, did you want to say anything? I'm just messing around.